Chapter 66. 2.1. A simulated cityscape. A constellation of lights in the black of night. Steady pricks of white fastened in rank and file up and down every block, every skyscraper, every superstructure. The blurred arteries of the city ablaze with mass car light, a web of streaming afterglow in constant flux. The blinking red of airship warning lights pulsing on top of each tower and mast, beating steadily while the streets below ticked to their own syncopated beat. The gridded form of the city broken occasionally by uplit architecture, arenas, cathedrals, domes and bridges, their arches and lines thrown into shadows from the spotlights below. Features that defined the metropolis and set the city apart from any other urban complex. Not least those famous avenues at the heart of it all, those interlocking ley lines bejewelled in the diamond gleam of advertisements, logos and slogans, product and aspiration, all splashed in an electric glare across every surface, projecting their Herculean holograms into the air itself. And off this celebrated thoroughfare, down another boulevard, and in a spiral around the next block, there's a passage. A shortcut from one side street to another, sitting tight between two buildings, their walls zigzagged with fire escapes. It's hard to see much detail from above. But down amidst the brickwork, amongst the people lining the alleyway, there's a single door lit by one neon sign. A venue. The venue. There's rarely been a queue of cooler-looking guys and girls than those gathered here. Sure, they had the hair, the clothes, the makeup, the tattoos, but what set them apart was their attitude. Like they'd intended to come and hang out in this alleyway tonight, to line the walls and drape themselves over each other with the God-given nonchalance and self-assurance of youth. Not one of them even glanced at the door where the queue led, unwilling as they were to betray an ounce of agitation. Except for the guy at the front. He was fucking livid. The bouncer wouldn't let him in. The man with the cloven thumb had found himself in the simulated back street a few moments ago. The first thing he'd noticed was her absence. Or perhaps distance was a better word. He still had a sense of their umbilical-like connection, but the cord had become thin, little more than a faint wisp. Given the woman's barefaced ingratitude and general mardiness, this ought to have been a relief, but, if truth be told, it had left Mr. Thumb feeling unsettled. Taking in the scene, he'd flipped a pair of dark glasses on his face, raised an eyebrow, and strolled to the front of the line. Lowering a shoulder, he ducked under the doorway to roll into the venue, only to find a thick, muscular arm barring his way. "And you are?" came the bass rumble of the bouncer from above him, a solid wall of flesh and disdain. Mr. Thumb tilted his head to one side and sucked his teeth, before swiping his eyeline past the bouncer's own. The Neanderthal checked it and grunted. "Your name's not down. You're not coming in." Mr. Thumb took a deep breath, lowered his sunglasses, and, drawing on a limited pool of patience, explained who he was. "Listen, buddy, I'm the will behind the wind, the surge under the sea. I'm the space inside the atom, the—" Nah, the bouncer cut him off. "Not tonight, mate. You're not on the list." Reckoning that it was time to pull out the big guns, Mr. Thumb had thrown a powerful series of shadow spells and shade hexes in a blur of occult symbols and incantations. The bouncer stared at him nonplussed, as absolutely nothing happened. Frustrated at his impotence, Mr. Thumb couldn't control his temper. He lost his shit and started shouting. With little more than a heavy exhalation, the bouncer gave this troublemaker a backhand that took Mr. Thumb off his feet and bowled him down the alley. He got up and dusted himself off. "Okay, fine," he spat over his shoulder. "I'll join the back of the queue then. Give you a chance to think things over." So this was the portal, the boundary beyond which the panmotech wasn't allowed. On the other side lay the unconscious mind of the board of directors, but it was out of bounds. The panmotech was supposed to receive sanctioned data packets out here, in this back street, and adjust them according to the board's wishes before sending them back. And although Ray was bound by such restrictions, he was not. He should have been able to infiltrate the venue and just saunter in. Mr. Thumb glared around the alleyway with a surly eye. Come to think of it, he thought, what had happened to Ray, anyway?